Hey guys, happy Friday! This is Brenda from My Wee Reborn Channel, and this is where my fairies stay. They stay on my shelf. I know it's a little crowded here. They weren't always the only ones on the shelf. I also have a box under here that holds my mini silicone baby in there. But I'd rather keep them covered and safe. And this little gadget, I remember this came with Xena. A box opening. I guess you could put it in her chest if you really wanted. I thought that was so nice. Oh. It just makes oh. You know, I'm going to appreciate this when I have the empty nest syndrome. I know I'm going to appreciate that little sound box. But I was sitting here and I was watching some YouTube, and there's a certain YouTuber that I watch that is not reborn related. He is a homesteader off the grid. Or no, sorry, he is on the grid. Where we own land off the grid. But that's me. No, but this is him, and he practiced random acts of kindness and keep them secret. And that's, I'm going to pan the camera over here. This is one of the things that I do myself. I do a lot of random acts of kindness, and I do keep them very quiet. I try not to advertise. I know, I mean, it feels so good to do something nice for people, but to keep it secret sometimes is hard. I remember when I was a little girl, and I used to watch this show. It was called Circle Square, and please comment down below if you're familiar with this show. It's a Canadian show back in the early 80s, and it's a religious show. And it's actually really cheesy, but I enjoyed it. And they did a lot of Christian songs on there, a lot of acting out scenarios and lessons learned. And anyways, it was a really good show. It was based on morals and of course the Bible, but being like my parents believe, like I was baptized myself twice. Once I was baptized when I was born. They thought I was going to die, so I was baptized on the day of my birth, and I have no birth certificate, but I do have a baptismal certificate. And it was by the Catholic Church, but my parents aren't Catholic. So when I was 4 years old and my brother was a baby, we were rebaptized by the United Church. And when we visited my grandmother, she was a sister. Well, not a sister, but she was like, I forget what they call it. I'm not too familiar with all the terms of all the clergy and all that, but she was one of the high top honored sisters, and we would go to church with her when we would visit. And my parents didn't attend church, but when we visited my grandmother, we did go to church. And when I visited my best friend Dawn, I would go to church with her, but she's Anglican. I think they're all the same. But anyways, I used to watch shows when I was a kid. So I learned a lot of my morals, like, you know, Little House on the Prairie, The Waltons, and shows like Circle Square. And there was another show too, I think it was called Star Trek, or no, I forget what it was called, but it was a teenager religious show, Canadian. And there was one challenge on there. The challenge was you had to do a very random act of kindness and not tell anyone. Like, nobody, not your best friend, not your parents, not anyone, not your dog, anyone. And I did it. I did this challenge, and I tell you, it was hard. It was so hard to bite my tongue. I wanted approval from people. I wanted my parents to be proud of me. I wanted people to know that I've done such a nice thing, that I wanted that acknowledgement. I wanted praisal for it. I really, really did. But I accepted the challenge. I didn't tell anyone, and I tell you, it was the hardest thing I have ever done. I think I was 8 or 9 years old. Because before, I mean, I've done random acts of kindness before, but I've always said, like, Mom, I did this, and Dad, I did that, and Grandma, I did this, and they'd be, oh, Brenda, that's so kind of you, good for you, and, you know, pats on the back and rewards and stuff like that. But this was a challenge that I did, and it was the hardest thing I won't tell you what I've done, but it was something I've done, totally random act of kindness, and the person didn't know it was me that I've done this to, and they were so happy, and it felt so good to help to do something so nice, but I couldn't tell anyone, and it was so hard. And so I've learned over the years, I still do random acts of kindness, but I don't tell many people. I mean, every once in a while, of course, I'll tell my best friends, or once in a while, my fiance, Francis. You know, oh, good for you, but yeah. So that's a challenge, you guys. I challenge you to do something, random act of kindness for anyone around you, but don't tell anyone. It's a secret. Don't tell your dog. Don't tell the reborns. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anyone. I'm telling you, it's hard. Don't advertise it on Facebook. Don't advertise it on Instagram. Don't post a picture. Don't post anything about this random act of kindness. Just do it and keep it secret. I tell you though, even though it's really hard, it feels so great. It feels wonderful. And I do random acts of kindness quite often, and I never tell anyone. But it feels so good, and it's wonderful. It's one of the best feelings in the world. So that's the challenge. Happy Friday, you guys. Have a very good weekend, and try and do something around the act of kindness. It could be anything. It could be pay it forward. Do you know that? Like, go to Timmy's, go to Starbucks, and say, I'm paying for the coffee for the next person. Or you see somebody hungry out in the streets, and give them some food, or just, I don't know. There's so many things that you could do. I tell you, this is hard not to tell anyone. It's really hard, especially if you're not used to it, because there are a lot of people that do random acts of kindness, but they advertise themselves all the time. I did this, everybody. Aren't you proud of me? I did this, everybody. Aren't you proud? Oh, don't you want to be like me? I don't know. It's just, I know that there are people out there that advertise themselves all the time, and I mean, sure, every once in a while it's just human to feel like you want that acknowledgement and that praisal. And it does feel good. You will get feedback, and people will say, oh, good for you, that's so kind. But tell you this, try and do it without telling anyone. Keep it a secret. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's also the most rewarding thing you'll ever do. So yeah, anyways guys, hope that you're having a great weekend. Thank you for listening to this ramble, and do some random acts of kindness. And I swear, you'll feel really good about it. Take care, guys. Love you. Thank you for being here. And until next time, bye.